Have you ever wondered how to navigate conflicts and conquer adversaries without resorting to combat? In today's video, we delve into the profound teachings of Gautama Buddha, who illuminates a path to victory through non-combat strategies. As the Buddha wisely said, "Conquer anger with non-anger, conquer badness with goodness, conquer meanness with generosity, conquer dishonesty with truth." These words encapsulate the essence of overcoming adversaries not by force, but through wisdom and virtue. Throughout history, many have sought ways to achieve triumph over their foes, but few have explored the pinnacle of non-combat as deeply as the Buddha. Join us as we uncover 10 Buddhist strategies that offer practical insights and timeless wisdom on how to conquer your foes with grace and integrity. Whether you're facing personal conflicts or navigating challenges in relationships or work, these strategies provide invaluable guidance on fostering peace, understanding, and ultimately triumph without battle. Number 1. Overcome evil with good. Gautama Buddha teaches us that one of the most powerful ways to overcome our adversaries is by responding to hostility with kindness and compassion. Instead of meeting negativity with more negativity, he encourages us to cultivate qualities like generosity, patience, and empathy. This approach not only diffuses tension, but also disarms the potential for escalation. The power of responding to hostility with kindness lies in its ability to break the cycle of conflict. When we meet anger or aggression with calmness and compassion, we shift the dynamics of the situation. Rather than fueling animosity, acts of goodwill can inspire a more positive and productive interaction. As the Buddha said, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. Practically applying this principle involves consciously choosing compassionate responses in challenging situations. For instance, when faced with criticism or hostility, instead of reacting defensively, one might respond with understanding and respect. By showing empathy and seeking to understand the underlying causes of conflict, we can often resolve issues more effectively. In personal relationships or professional settings, practicing goodwill can transform adversaries into allies. For example, offering assistance or support to someone who opposes you can foster understanding and build trust over time. This strategy not only benefits immediate interactions, but also contributes to long-term harmony and cooperation. By embracing the wisdom of overcoming evil with good, we not only navigate conflicts more skillfully, but also contribute positively to our environment. This approach aligns with the Buddhist principle of cultivating inner peace and extending compassion outward, creating ripple effects of positivity and understanding in our interactions with others. Number 2. Understand your real enemy is the devil. Gautama Buddha teaches us that our true adversaries are often not external, but internal, negative emotions and thoughts that create suffering and conflict within us. He spoke of the devil as metaphorically representing these inner demons such as anger, greed, and ignorance, which perpetuate cycles of unhappiness and discord. Buddha's teaching on the internal struggle emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and mindfulness. By recognizing and understanding the roots of our negative emotions, we can begin to transcend them. This requires honest introspection and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves. Practically applying this principle involves adopting mindfulness and meditation practices. Mindfulness helps us observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to see clearly the patterns that lead to inner turmoil. Through meditation, we cultivate mental discipline and inner peace, gradually weakening the grip of negative habits and tendencies. For example, when feelings of anger or resentment arise towards others, instead of reacting impulsively, we can use mindfulness to pause and investigate the underlying causes of these emotions. This practice allows us to respond more skillfully, with greater compassion and understanding. By understanding that our real enemy lies within, we shift our focus from external conflicts to inner growth and transformation. This approach not only leads to personal healing, but also fosters harmonious relationships and a more peaceful world. It aligns with Buddha's teachings on overcoming suffering by addressing its roots, paving the way for genuine peace and spiritual awakening. Number 3, forgive and guard your heart against bitterness. Gautama Buddha teaches us about the profound importance of forgiveness in achieving inner peace and freedom from suffering. He recognized that holding on to grudges and resentment only perpetuates pain and hinders our spiritual growth. Buddha's advice on forgiveness extends beyond mere words. It is a transformative practice that liberates us from the burden of bitterness. The importance of forgiveness for one's own peace of mind cannot be overstated. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the emotional shackles that bind us to past hurts. Buddha likened holding on to anger and resentment to holding on to a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. It only burns oneself. Forgiveness, therefore, is not about condoning the actions of others, but about freeing ourselves from the suffering caused by clinging to negative emotions. Practically applying this principle involves several steps. Firstly, it requires acknowledging and accepting the pain caused by the situation or person. This step allows us to process our emotions honestly and without judgment. Next, we can cultivate empathy by considering the perspective of the person who hurt us, recognizing their own struggles and limitations. One powerful technique to cultivate forgiveness is loving kindness meditation, where we intentionally wish happiness and well-being for ourselves and others, including those who have caused us pain. This practice gradually softens our hearts and reduces the intensity of negative emotions. Ultimately, forgiveness is a process that requires patience and compassion towards ourselves. It involves setting boundaries to protect our emotional well-being while actively working towards letting go of resentment. By guarding our hearts against bitterness and cultivating forgiveness, we not only heal ourselves but also contribute to greater harmony and understanding in our relationships and communities, echoing the timeless wisdom of Gautama Buddha. Number 4, leave revenge and judgment up to God. Gautama Buddha's teachings emphasize the futility of seeking revenge and passing judgment on others. He encourages us to relinquish the desire for retribution and instead trust in natural justice. Buddha understood that the cycle of revenge only perpetuates suffering and does not lead to true resolution or peace. The explanation behind leaving revenge and judgment to a higher power lies in the recognition that our understanding of justice may be clouded by emotions and biases. By surrendering the need to punish others for their wrongdoings, we free ourselves from the burden of carrying resentment and anger. Buddha's wisdom suggests that focusing on our own actions and intentions rather than seeking to control the actions of others leads to greater inner harmony. Practically applying this principle involves cultivating acceptance and detachment. It requires acknowledging that we cannot control the behavior or outcomes of others, but we can choose how we respond to situations. This involves reframing our perspective to see challenging circumstances as opportunities for personal growth and learning. One effective strategy is practicing mindfulness and meditation to cultivate inner peace and clarity. These practices help us develop equanimity, allowing us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. Through mindfulness, we can cultivate compassion towards ourselves and others, fostering a sense of understanding and forgiveness. By leaving revenge and judgment to a higher power, we align ourselves with principles of non-attachment and acceptance. This approach not only promotes inner peace but also contributes to a more compassionate and harmonious society. It encourages us to focus on healing and reconciliation rather than perpetuating cycles of conflict and resentment. As Gautama Buddha teaches, true wisdom lies in letting go of the need for vengeance and trusting in the natural order of things. Number 5, set your boundaries. Setting boundaries is essential for maintaining personal well-being and fostering healthy relationships, a principle echoed in the teachings of Gautama Buddha. Buddha emphasized the importance of self-respect and self-care, which are foundational to setting and maintaining boundaries that protect us from harm, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The explanation behind setting boundaries lies in recognizing and honoring our own needs and limits. By establishing clear boundaries, we communicate our values and expectations to others, creating a space where we feel safe and respected. Buddha's teachings encourage us to cultivate mindfulness and awareness of our own boundaries, recognizing when they are being crossed and taking appropriate action to protect ourselves. Practically applying this principle involves developing assertiveness skills without resorting to aggression. Assertiveness allows us to express our needs and preferences confidently while respecting the rights and boundaries of others. Techniques such as I statements and active listening can help us communicate effectively and assertively without escalating conflicts. For example, if someone consistently disregards your personal space or boundaries in conversation, you can calmly but firmly assert your need for respect by saying, I feel uncomfortable when my personal space is invaded. Please give me some space. This assertive yet respectful approach communicates your boundaries clearly while inviting mutual understanding. Setting boundaries is not about building walls or shutting others out, but rather about creating healthy relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. By honoring our own boundaries and respecting those of others, we contribute to a harmonious environment where everyone's needs are acknowledged and valued. This practice aligns with Buddha's teachings on compassion and self-care, fostering greater inner peace and interpersonal harmony. Number 6, do right so you can be in the right. Gautama Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of living ethically and aligning our actions with our values. Doing what is right, according to Buddha, not only promotes personal integrity, but also establishes a strong moral foundation that can withstand challenges and conflicts. This principle encourages us to cultivate virtues such as honesty, compassion, and kindness in all our interactions. The explanation behind doing right to be in the right lies in the belief that ethical conduct leads to inner peace and stability. When we consistently act in alignment with our values, we build trust and credibility within ourselves and with others. Buddha taught that integrity and moral conduct are essential for cultivating a peaceful mind and creating harmonious relationships. Practically applying this principle involves making conscious choices that reflect our ethical values, even in challenging situations. For example, if faced with a decision where honesty might lead to temporary discomfort or conflict, choosing honesty aligns with the principle of doing right. This not only preserves our integrity, but also strengthens our moral character. Integrity and moral conduct can strengthen one's position without resorting to conflict by fostering trust and mutual respect. When others perceive us as reliable and principled, they are more likely to cooperate and seek common ground, reducing the potential for adversarial interactions. This approach aligns with Buddha's teachings on the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of cultivating virtuous qualities for personal and collective well-being. By striving to do right in every aspect of our lives, we not only uphold our own dignity and self-respect, but also contribute positively to the world around us. This practice encourages us to take responsibility for our actions and choices, promoting harmony and ethical behavior in our communities. As Gautama Buddha taught, true happiness and peace arise from living in accordance with moral principles and treating others with kindness and compassion. Number 7, know when to fight. Gautama Buddha's teachings on knowing when to fight emphasize the importance of discernment and wisdom in choosing when assertiveness or standing up for oneself is necessary. Buddha recognized that there are times when passive acceptance may lead to harm or injustice, And in such situations, assertive action becomes not only justified, but essential for maintaining personal integrity and upholding righteous principles. The explanation behind knowing when to fight lies in understanding the nuances of conflict and discerning when assertiveness aligns with moral and ethical values. Buddha taught that true compassion includes a willingness to confront injustice and protect oneself and others from harm. This principle encourages us to cultivate clarity and mindfulness, to recognize situations where assertive action is warranted. Practically applying this principle involves being attentive to signs and situations where assertive action is justified. For example, if someone consistently crosses your boundaries despite your polite requests, assertively asserting your boundaries may be necessary to protect yourself from further harm or discomfort. Similarly, speaking up against discrimination or injustice requires assertiveness to advocate for equality and fairness. Knowing when to fight also involves weighing the potential consequences of action or inaction. Buddha's teachings guide us to consider the long-term effects of our decisions on ourselves and others, fostering a balanced approach that values peace while recognizing the necessity of assertiveness in certain circumstances. By cultivating discernment and wisdom, we can navigate conflicts effectively, knowing when to assert ourselves with compassion and clarity. This approach aligns with Buddha's teachings on skillful means, where assertiveness is used not for personal gain or ego, but to uphold truth, justice, and compassion for the benefit of all beings. Number 8. Give 'em rope. Gautama Buddha's wisdom on giving 'em rope teaches us the power of patience and observation in dealing with adversaries. This principle involves allowing adversaries the space and opportunity to reveal their true intentions or weaknesses through their actions. By exercising patience and keen observation, we can often turn adversaries' aggression or negativity against them without needing to engage in direct conflict. The explanation behind giving 'em rope lies in understanding that rushing to confront or react impulsively to adversarial behavior can escalate tensions and potentially lead to further conflict. Instead, Buddha's teachings encourage us to adopt a strategic approach of observing and discerning the motives and behaviors of others over time. Practically applying this principle involves maintaining a sense of calm and detachment when faced with challenging interactions. Rather than reacting defensively or aggressively, we can step back and observe how our adversaries' actions unfold. This approach allows us to gather valuable information about their intentions, vulnerabilities, and patterns of behavior. For example, in a professional setting, if a colleague consistently undermines your work or criticizes your ideas, instead of immediately defending yourself, you can patiently observe their behavior and interactions with others. Over time, their actions may reveal insecurities or motives that can be strategically addressed or mitigated through thoughtful responses. Giving 'em rope also aligns with Buddha's teachings on skillful means, where patience and observation are valued as tools for resolving conflicts peacefully and effectively. By allowing adversaries to expose their own weaknesses or intentions, we can often find opportunities for resolution or transformation without resorting to direct confrontation. Ultimately, practicing patience and observation in interactions with adversaries not only empowers us with valuable insights, but also promotes a deeper understanding of human behavior and motivations. This approach fosters a compassionate and strategic mindset that seeks to resolve conflicts harmoniously, reflecting the wisdom and teachings of Gautama Buddha. Number 9. Know what they're saying about you. Gautama Buddha's teachings on knowing what others are saying about you emphasize the importance of being aware of perceptions and misinformation that may affect relationships and reputations. Buddha understood that misunderstandings and gossip can create unnecessary conflict and suffering, and he advocated for clarity and truthfulness in all communications. The explanation behind knowing what others are saying about you lies in recognizing the impact of perceptions on interpersonal dynamics. Buddha taught that ignorance of others' opinions or rumors can lead to misunderstandings and mistrust. Being aware of what is being said allows us to address misconceptions promptly and prevent them from escalating into larger conflicts. Practically applying this principle involves cultivating open and honest communication with others. It includes actively seeking feedback and being receptive to constructive criticism while also clarifying any misunderstandings or misinformation that may arise. Buddha's teachings encourage us to practice mindfulness and discernment in our interactions, being mindful of how our words and actions may be perceived by others. Strategies for clarifying misunderstandings and managing reputation can include direct communication with those involved, seeking mediation or third-party perspectives to provide clarity, and demonstrating consistency in behavior that aligns with our values and intentions. For instance, if rumors or misunderstandings about your actions or motives surface in a social or professional setting, addressing them calmly and factually can help correct any misinformation and preserve trust and respect. Knowing what others are saying about you also involves a level of detachment from others' opinions. Buddha's teachings on non-attachment encourage us to maintain inner peace and stability, regardless of external judgments or perceptions. By staying grounded in our values and integrity, we can navigate interpersonal challenges with grace and wisdom, fostering harmonious relationships and a positive reputation based on truth and authenticity. Number 10. Don't live life in permanent battle mode. Gautama Buddha's teachings on not living life in permanent battle mode remind us of the importance of embracing peace and non-attachment to conflict. Buddha understood that constantly viewing life as a series of battles, whether internal struggles or external conflicts, leads to stress, suffering, and a sense of perpetual dissatisfaction. Instead, he advocated for cultivating inner peace and resilience in the face of adversarial situations. The explanation behind this principle lies in recognizing that life inevitably brings challenges, but our response to these challenges can either perpetuate suffering or contribute to our growth and well-being. Buddha's teachings encourage us to develop a mindset of non-attachment, where we observe and respond to situations with clarity and equanimity, rather than reacting impulsively out of fear or defensiveness. Practically applying this principle involves adopting techniques to cultivate inner peace and reduce stress from adversarial situations. Mindfulness meditation, for example, helps us cultivate present moment awareness and acceptance of our experiences, fostering a sense of calm and perspective even in challenging times. This practice allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them, enabling us to respond to conflicts more skillfully. Another practical application is practicing compassion towards ourselves and others. By cultivating empathy and understanding, we can soften the impact of adversarial interactions and foster connections based on mutual respect and kindness. This approach aligns with Buddha's teachings on the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of cultivating a compassionate heart. By not living life in permanent battle mode, we liberate ourselves from the cycle of conflict and suffering. Instead, we embrace a path of peace, resilience, and personal growth. This mindset allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and grace, fostering harmonious relationships and contributing positively to our communities. As Gautama Buddha taught, true happiness and peace arise from within, cultivated through wisdom, compassion, and a deep understanding of the nature of conflict and suffering. Conclusion. In conclusion, the teachings of Gautama Buddha provide profound guidance on overcoming adversaries with wisdom and compassion. By embracing principles such as overcoming evil with good, understanding internal struggles, and setting boundaries, we cultivate peace within ourselves and promote harmony in our interactions. Remember, practicing forgiveness, knowing when to assert ourselves, and cultivating inner peace are not just strategies for conflict resolution, but pathways to personal growth and spiritual fulfillment. Let us continue to apply these timeless teachings in our lives, fostering understanding and creating a more compassionate and peaceful world. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration into Buddhist strategies for conquering foes with grace and integrity.